And then they get in there, and you got this 67-year-old man. He's like, you burnt my pizza. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Get out!
Yeah,
out.
Get out.
New Haven style pizza. Come and take a seat. A beats, it's time to eat.
Episode 32 of Charred New Haven.
3-2, baby.
There you go, Frank. It's Kevin Bagley, Frank Zabsky, and we have a very special guest today. Frank, is this our second out-of-state guest?
I believe it is, but he's the farthest, I think.
Well, London.
Yeah, you're right. That's a little bit
Yeah,
that's a little bit
Max
farther
is
away.
coming from London. Lenny's a Beats in London. But it is still kind of a drive, so we appreciate it. Chris from Fire and Ice in Maine made the drive down from Windham, Maine?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And you serve New Haven Beats in Maine.
We do, yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about, to start out, how did this come about?
And he's killing it, too.
Yeah.
Killing it.
What made you decide to bring that to the people of Maine?
So the way it worked is I've always wanted to open a pizza shop, and there's so many different styles, different flavors. So my friend owns a pizza shop, like a Neapolitan style pizza, a little doughier, and I originally was going to open that, and I worked with him for a little bit, and we couldn't narrow down like the dough, the sauce, just productions, and it became like we're probably like 5 or 6 months from opening, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. So I started trying different pizzas, and that's when I met him, and kind of it flowed real well, and I learned everything that I needed to do, and it just kind of blew up from there.
Did you already know of Frank, or how did you find him?
So I've been watching a lot of YouTube.
Okay.
I think most of the guys that have been opening newer pizza shops nowadays are kind of watching the greats and the people that are doing real well.
And there's so many videos. There's so much stuff to find. Yeah.
It's amazing the amount of like hands-on videos that are online right now.
Yep.
So I started watching videos, and he popped up.
Nice.
And I'm like,
nice SEO, Frank.
Yeah. I'm like, absolutely. There's guys that that you're not going to work well with.
Right.
You can see like their demeanor, their processes when you're making it. Like, I don't want to go down there and have an issue.
Right.
In his videos, it's just very smooth. It's awesome. So I'm like, I contacted him.
Nice.
And
the rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
That's awesome. So you started learning how to make New Haven style from Frank.
I did.
And then how long ago was this? Like, how long did it take you to open this place?
It was probably a year and a half ago.
Oh.
I opened in December 23. So I think it was like 2 or 3 months prior to me opening. I was going to do it. The guy that I was originally, he's like, well, we'll do like a really nice New Yorker. He's an old Italian guy. He's like, we'll do a New Yorker. I'm like, I don't want that.
I didn't know they had Italians in Maine.
Oh yeah, they got, and they've got Italians everywhere, but it was just too much. Like, I don't want to be like everybody else. Everybody's got a New Yorker, and it's just a different variation of the same, know, and there's gas station pizza everywhere in Maine. And that's kind of what it felt like to me, is like, unless if I'm going to do something that I'm really passionate about, I don't want to make it.
And Frank and I talk about this all the time, that you kind of like the pizza you grew up on. So I'm assuming that there's people in Maine who have been going to the same place for like 20 years. So you might as well give people something different to try, rather than the same thing, because they're never going to go to the same thing they've been going to.
Maine's very old-fashioned. In their marketing, their advertising, these old timers, they don't change.
Right.
They still have the shopper's guide, which is weird. How many newspapers do you know that are like live and well?
Yeah.
In Maine, they've got 30 pages in the shopper's guide of like little automotive shops, and
it's crazy.
It's crazy. So to introduce something this unique and different was kind of like a shock to a lot of people's system, because they're so used to that doughy, cheesy, the cheese pull and all that stuff. So when I came in, it like shocked people, and they're like, this ain't gonna work. You're not gonna last. And little do they know, we've been absolutely killing it. So
and I feel like anyone who opens a place that serves New Haven style done correctly outside of Connecticut, that's what happens. The initial shock is like, what is this?
Burnt. It's burnt.
Yeah. And then it turns into, if you're the first one to do it, then you're golden, because then people turn around, they start liking it.
And there is a way of doing it, like he showed us, is there's people that are burning it.
Right.
Like, there's literally people that are burning it. There's conveyor belts. There's just so many different ways. And, when we were talking through it, the oven, there's so much that goes into it. It's not just the dough, the sauce, the cheese, but it's also the oven, the prepping of the dough, the processes that people don't think go into it.
Yeah.
You know, you can just buy a case of frozen dough balls and try to make this. You can't. It's a craft. It's a skill that
really is.
I am not anywhere near being perfectionist at this point. I'm still learning every single day. When we go in and we look at the dough and we look at the temperatures, it's a learning curve every single day.
Yeah. Now, Frank, real quick, when you meet someone like Chris, like, did you immediately think, oh, he gets it, like he's going to be able to do it?
Yeah, I've probably had in the last year and a half, probably 8 to 10 people that have done what Chris has did, which was kind of a one-on-one thing. And almost immediately, probably half of them I knew. I mean, I gave them everything that I gave you, but I'm like, yeah, not going to be.
Yeah.
But he was like a sponge.
Right.
You know, and he was into it and he was passionate about it. And so that's the big thing. But I didn't know this. So you had no pizza experience, basically none, before you opened up your pizza, before you opened up Fire and Ice.
Yeah, so I worked at a couple of pizzerias.
Don't say Domino's.
No, it was like so.
Pizzeria Uno?
So there's a place
was
called Buffalo Wings and Things in Portland. They had like 6 locations. The guy was just a part-time thing. But we just didn't do just pizza. It was chicken wings and it was subs and
bar food
you're just running around the kitchen. Pizza was like 3rd or 4th on the list.
Yeah.
So I always knew how to make a good pizza. I've always done it, but I've never, like I told you when we introduced, I said I've never actually physically made the process.
Yeah,
the dough and the sauce.
Yeah,
you know,
from
you always
scratch.
just go in and you're like, okay, here's a can of sauce. You put your stuff in it. Here's the dough balls. They're already made. You
Yeah.
make the pizza.
You're basically assembling it as
Correct.
opposed to making it from
Yeah,
scratch.
you're like a line cook.
Yeah.
You know, not an artist or you know what they call them, pizziolas or whatever. But
Is that what they call them, Frank? Pizziolas?
Pizziolas.
Yeah.
Pizziolas.
Pizzolas. Oh, Jesus.
Pizza maker. That's
Yeah,
what I
pizza
call
maker,
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Freaking
we
Maine
have
guys.
another guy, and there's a guy wearing a chef shirt, and he's like, I'm a chef du jour. I'm like, I'll never wear a chef suit. I'm like, I'm not gonna ever do that. You know, I'm making pizzas. I'm covered in flour every night, you know, from head to toe. And I think that's what gives that experience too. When you go in there, some places, like you go to one of these other places like Domino's, those guys aren't covered in flour.
No.
You know, it's a production line. One guy's doing the stretch, and the other guy's doing the toppings, and there's another
Yeah, it's
guy
a whole
doing that.
different operation. Yeah. And
I
there's-
do it from start to finish. Just, you know, I stretch it, and then I'm watching it, spinning it in the oven.
And that's where the passion is, you know, that's where it comes from. That's where the creativity is when you come up with different, you know, styles for your menu, different, you know, that's what it's all about.
100%.
Yeah.
So give us like the first month or so, because I'm sure you had some people like, what the what is this?
So, yeah, I mean, Maine's kind of changing ever since COVID.
Yeah.
Maine is a different state. We had a lot of people from New York, Massachusetts
That relocated?
that relocated. I think we looked at it. It was like 60 to 100,000 people moved during COVID.
Oh, wow.
From New York City to Massachusetts up to Maine.
Yeah, because we saw a lot of that from New York City into Connecticut,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
going, I even
Milford
think-
especially.
yeah, and then Massachusetts going up to Maine.
They
too. You
wanted
kinda get
the
all that.
no mask, no.
They want,
You know, they didn't want to
yeah.
go the one way down the store aisle
Right.
and have to deal with that. They're like, I could go to Maine and go to the
And
country store,
Yep.
Hanford, and we're good to go.
That's
So
interesting.
when we put this online that we're going to be opening, it exploded. You know, people are like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I haven't had this since I was in Mass or New York or New Jersey. It's crazy. We have people from New Jersey. I have this one lady, we call her Brooklyn. But she comes in, she's from Long Island or wherever she's from. But
She talks like that.
yeah, she talks like that, and I call her Brooklyn. She loves it, and she's like, "This is as close as I can get to a real New York pizza."
Yeah.
You know, it may be New Haven, but it's so darn close.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know that it brings them back.
Or people from New York have friends or family who live in Connecticut. Maybe they visited here and they've had it. And growing up, I didn't even think of that angle that people relocated up there and now they can find it in Maine.
And when we did that, we had lines out the door. Like the first day I opened, I think we sold a couple hundred pizzas, and we had like a 2 or 3 hour wait. I mean, if you look at our pizza shop, it's I think 1,000 square feet, 1,200. It's
okay, so it's small.
literally just an office that we converted.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever thought that would be a pizza shop. The first, I think, probably 8 or 9 months, all I had was a little white sign that said pizza. Like literally, it's just on the front glass that said pizza.
Yep.
And that was it. We had no signage, nothing.
Yeah,
Just a little thing, and it was all social media, and it took off. It went viral.
Didn't you have like a big elephant or balloon or some crazy
So what happened
rat
was
or something on the front?
every
splash.
single week we'd have people come in. I can't find you. I can't find you. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. You got to put more signage. So I'm like, all right. So we put a sign. We put like a 6x12 sign. Every week they'd come in. I can't find you. I can't find you. So what do I do?
Is it a standalone building, or
It's
is
just it literally looks like like a dentist office or like a
Right.
small old office building.
But is
It's
it part
white.
of another building?
No.
Oh, so it's standalone.
And there's another like breakfast restaurant that's right beside us, but you would never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think it's like a dentist shop.
Yeah.
So finally, everybody just coming. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna put. I own another business, inflatables. I brought the biggest elephant I could find, and it's huge. It's like 30 feet tall. You know, it's just massive.
Wait, so the other business you own is inflatables. So is it like bounce houses and
It
stuff,
is, yeah.
and balloons and
Yeah,
stuff?
I rock walls. We've got a couple of Ferris wheels, amusement
awesome.
rides. So this was supposed to just basically keep me busy. It was supposed to be a hobby,
like a side hustle.
It was a side
Yeah,
hustle
yeah.
for the winter time because summer
Yep.
is busy in Maine, but
Yeah.
it snows.
Right,
So
true.
we're like, why not do this? And now I'm to a point where this is a full time this is a full time enterprise that I have to figure out how to operate.
Now you're using the inflatables for the pizza place.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's becoming the side hustle.
And it kind of, when we had the elephant out front, people started freaking out, and they're like, whoa, and they're like, they turned it political. Like they were
they
turning it
thought it was
political.
like
They're like, it's a rhino. You're a Republican. I'm like, no. I'm like, it's literally just so people
right,
can find
people
us.
have lost their minds
Yeah, they've
nowadays.
gone crazy. So now we have, we had to put on there like left, right. I could care less. As long as you like pizza,
Right, if you like pizza.
yeah, you're welcome to my shop. But
Yeah.
if you say one stupid thing about a political BS,
Right.
you're gone.
You're out,
You know,
yeah.
and I'll throw you out in a heartbeat. It doesn't matter what side it's on.
Right.
You're out.
Yeah.
So,
So tell us about you said you threw a lot of people out. I'm interested to find out about that.
so
He's also a bouncer on the side.
yeah. So what happened was, and this happens quite a bit. People will come in and they don't understand fresh. They don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
They're so used to just calling, picking up the phone, and having a pizza,
Right.
and there's no issues. This is all, we only can have so much storage in
Bake
our
to order.
Yeah, we have so much fridge space.
And
you
that's
know?
how you get the good pizza. Like,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
So, and the guy would come in, and we post on our social media, we're out, and
Yeah.
90% the guy comes in and he's on his phone. He's like, well, you need to do a better job of updating. I said, well, what would you like me? He's like, well, I'm just a little upset. I said, I wanted pizza. I said, we don't have it. And he freaked out, and I'm like, just get out, and I've done that a lot. This is my house.
Right, you own the place.
I own the place.
It's not like you're the manager of another corporation.
Yeah, and they always, well, I'll just call somebody. I'll just call your boss. I said, there is nobody. I'm like,
You're talking to him.
yeah, I'm it. So, and that kind of, it's nice to have a small shop where you're not worried about that kind of,
Yeah, where you're running your own show.
Yeah, and if one less pizza a week isn't going to hurt me,
Yeah.
and even if I had 10 less pizzas, it won't hurt me. But that's the way, the mentality that I've set up from the beginning is that this is our house. We
Yeah.
control the rules. It's our business,
How many employees do you have?
So right now, I just have my nephew and my wife, and,
Okay.
and my father. My father does like the sauce.
Who's here, by the way?
He's
He's sitting
in
right
the
over
corner.
here.
He doesn't want to be viewed, but
Is he
he's
the bouncer?
He's the bouncer, yeah. It's funny when we threw that one. I've thrown out probably 20, 30 people.
In a year and a half.
Yeah, in a year and a half. But
I love it.
He actually he flipped out. He's like, you can't talk to people.
Yeah.
He's great. I love him, and I don't think I could do it without him.
Yeah.
But he makes our sauce, and
nice.
he gets there early, with my nephew,
Yeah.
and he does the. I started training him how to do the pizza.
Yeah.
Because I have a whole nother business, so I can't be there.
You're doing both.
And you're Irish, right? 100%.
Yeah, pretty
Off
damn
the
close. My grandfather was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
So.
Zero Italian.
There actually might be a little bit of
Like this
Italian.
much?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit. Yeah, so we have family that are Italian in the area, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just the Irish temper or what.
Yeah.
But I get along real well with Italians.
I love the family business aspect, though. So many of the pizza places that we've gone to, the ones that are successful and have a great business, like when we went to Guilford.
Yeah. Grand. Oh,
no,
Pasta Vest.
Pasta Vest.
Yeah.
It's same thing. Like her dad's over here, her husband's making
Yeah.
the pizzas. Like
Yeah.
it's that.
And I think it
family-
has to be that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the only way that you can run a pizzeria nowadays, because a lot of these guys think they go into it and you need to spend $500,000 or $1 million to build out this pizza, you need to get the what's the new ovens that are going out? The Pizza Masters.
Yeah.
You need to get the $70,000 Pizza Master, and it's
you
like
can't just throw a bunch of money into it.
You can't just and you gotta have a passion for it too.
Yep.
You gotta like want to cook the pizza, and you gotta eat the pizza.
Yeah.
You know, they always come in. We're eating a slice of pizza, and they're like, Jesus, you eat your own pizza? I'm like, yeah, I have 2 or 3 a day to try to make sure
make sure it's good.
It's good, you know.
And you have to, and the family aspect of it is you're all invested. You know, you don't have, and I'm sure if you ever hire an employee, just a regular civilian, you're going to make sure that they're invested as well. You know, and I think that's what leads to the success of the business.
I agree.
Yeah, and the one thing that always, I get dinged all the time. Not that much anymore because I've kind of laid back a little bit, but it doesn't matter what nationality you are. Like, I'm Polish and Irish, and I do have some Italian. You're 100% Irish. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because you're super passionate about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I've never understood the distinction that, only Italians can make pizza. It's like, it's crazy. No.
Right.
Yeah. I've been to some Italian restaurants that I don't know. They shouldn't be. I don't want to say Italian,
Right.
but it's not good food.
Yeah.
Just because you're a certain nationality doesn't
automatically make you
a good person to make that style food.
Correct.
You know, I've had meatballs that are like, I could have had better frozen meatballs, and you're like, this is a $30 meatball, it's like just crazy to me, but you're right,
Now I printed out your menu because I love the part that it says, a beats is well done. The pizza's well done.
Yes.
So you have it multiple times. Here, I'll hold the menu up a little bit. You have it multiple times on this menu because I'm sure, like you said, when you first opened, it's burnt. Like we always say, it's not burnt, it's charred.
And it went viral. So anything with viral is people aren't 100% on board with what that is.
Yeah.
They just want to be part of that viral form.
Right.
So they're going in there like, I want to try this. Everybody's talking about it. They love it. And then they get in there and, you got this 67-year-old man. He's like, you burnt my pizza. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Get out!
Yeah,
Out!
get out. Throw you out. Go
down to Frank's class.
Yeah,
He'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was the training of the customer too, not just us and our employees, but
I like that.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. Because you really have to with this.
It's a whole new experience, and you have to retrain people's thought process of how that works.
And once it catches on, it's like when we were talking about Lenny's of Beats in London. Like he had the same thing right at the beginning. It's like, what on earth? Like they hadn't seen anything like that. And once you power through that initial aspect, then people start and word of mouth.
And people are attacking us on. I mean, you go on our Facebook page. I got like 6,500 followers right now, and people attack us daily. They're like, your pizza's crap. It's burnt. And I started from day one where it's my house.
Yeah.
I'll snap right back at them.
They don't have to come eat it.
Exactly. You don't have to come at it. And you know what? Also, we're a small business. You don't have to insult us. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of there's probably 100 pizza shops within 20 miles of our shop.
That's who's commenting.
I was gonna ask that.
They're all threatened.
Yeah, it's all they all feel a little bit of the pressure. We're taking money from them.
Yeah.
And what I do is I have actually been going out to all these other pizza shops and taking a photo of their pizza and trying it and promoting them.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, hey, this is this place. And I go there weekly. We're closed Monday and Tuesday. What do I do Monday and Tuesday? I go to another pizza shop or I go to another place and I'm trying their pizzas.
Yeah.
And I'm promoting them on our site.
That's great.
Because we're all here together.
Yeah.
I don't see them as competition anymore.
Right.
They're just there, and I'm a whole different bracket.
And it just helps you out. The more success within your community, especially in a place like Maine, that's just going to make things better for all of you.
I agree.
Yeah.
High tide rises all ships.
That's what I was looking for.
And
I didn't want to screw it up.
And we need to raise the bar for everybody. I think if we all work together to make a better product, that raises the quality style in the pizzas in the area.
Yeah, and I think the word of mouth thing is interesting because like you were saying earlier about Maine, even though it's like newspapers and kind of like an old school mentality, the word of mouth thing I feel like is
Maine's like
huge
6
up
degrees
there.
from separation.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
Isn't there like something called like the penny saver or the penny, or there's like an old
the coupon book?
Maybe, yeah. It's like a really popular magazine in Maine, like a thrift.
There was the Uncle Henry's.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Uncle Henry's.
It's weird because they used to be at our local store, Patches, which I'll throw him out. He makes a great lobster roll. If you're ever in Maine,
oh, nice.
Patches Variety, he makes a great lobster roll.
That's good to know.
And it's just the thing. But he used to have the Uncle Henry's out there every single day. And you used to go through that as a kid in like dirt bikes and four-wheelers.
Oh, yeah.
And you used to look down, you had to call somebody on the the dial-up phone. But now I think it's online still. So it's still alive.
Okay.
You know,
Nice.
it's like the what's the weather one that's out there?
The weather one. The
Yeah,
weather one.
it tells it. It's like the
Like Weather Underground.
no, it's like a forecast the weather for the following season.
The Farmer's Almanac.
Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah.
It's like who would have thought that would still be in business, but people
They still print
read it.
Yeah.
So
The one thing I want to mention, and I have a lot of respect for you on this, and that's when I always knew you were a good guy, but this even made it more, is that you do a lot for the community.
We do.
You know, I think you give oil away, you give pizza away, you give this away. So it's not like you're just there, you know, quote unquote, taking everyone's money.
Yeah.
You're actually giving back.
yep. And what I always say is the more pizza you buy from us, the more you're going to help your own community.
Yeah.
So every single pizza that goes, you know, we already have another business, so this isn't a profit. You know, it makes money for me, but it's not something that this isn't my only gig.
You're not retiring.
I'm not retiring off
Yeah.
making pizza.
Because anyone who sets out to just make money off pizza is probably not going to be successful.
Yeah, and you're gonna work 70, 80 hours a week, and you gotta find ways to make not only yourself happy but other people happy.
Yeah.
I think the biggest giveaway, you know, the biggest gift is giving people, you know, something back. So,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. We give, like I said, I give probably 2,000 gallons of oil away.
Wow.
I paid people's bills. I'll go to Shaw's and I'll buy $100, $200 gift cards and just give them to people.
That's great.
So
That's so awesome for especially for the whole community up there.
Yep.
That's because you're part of it too. You know?
yeah, it's a
There's-
small community.
Yeah, there's a lot of places here in Connecticut that are exactly like that. You know, these towns and communities here. You know, I see that a lot with some of these local pizzerias that we go to here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask though about the ice cream on your menu.
Yes.
The rolled ice cream. So was that something that you made before you opened this place? Like, what made you think of, or just to be unique?
So my daughter is a competitive cheerleader,
Oh, nice.
and we travel literally all over the country.
Yeah.
all over the country. It's like a small fortune just to keep her in cheering. So we go everywhere, and every year we go to Florida. And if you've ever been to Orlando,
Yep.
downtown, they have this place called like Mr. Frosty or Misty Free. I don't know what it is, but it's a small little shop, and they've got little sticky notes all over the wall. And you go in there and you get rolled ice cream.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know, what if we brought that to Maine? You know, nobody else was doing it.
Just like how you did with the pizza.
Yeah, nobody else is doing it. So I said, you know, we're gonna do it. And I taught my wife, I taught my daughter, and now she's like making these, like, you can see some of the stuff on there. It's
Yeah, on the Facebook page,
it's
you
kind
can
of
see
wild.
a bunch of it. Yeah.
She makes some wild different ice creams, and every single time she posts it, we sell out.
Was there a rolled ice cream Frank that you had to learn from?
It goes back to YouTube.
Oh, you just
It's
yeah, what's that
amazing how
video?
much is on YouTube. The problem is with that is that you have to get the mix right, just like the pizza.
And it's a cold slate, right?
So it's the liquid we convert to a solid. So think of like an ice skating rink,
Yeah.
and then you got a Zamboni, right?
Okay.
So the Zamboni lays out a little bit of water, and then that water you got to scrape off that ice.
Yeah.
And that's what rolled ice cream is.
Oh,
It's a
interesting.
thin layer of ice cream, and it's melt in your mouth. It's really good.
I always thought it was like a freezing cold steel or like a slate.
It's
You're
like a
thinking
cold
like
plate.
Cold Stone.
I'm
Creek.
thinking that, yeah.
So everybody always says that they come in like it's like Cold Stone. No, Cold Stone is already either soft serve or hard serve, and then they just
they're
put
just
like
pouring it
cookies.
on it. Yeah.
Like you want cookies or whatever, they'll
They're
chop
making
it
an
up.
omelet. Like
It's like hibachi.
Right. That's a good
It's hibachi
comparison.
for ice cream,
Yep.
and they make it in front of you. But we do the same thing where
This
we
is totally different.
we chop it up and then we lay it out, and it's a liquid.
Yeah.
They're already giving you a solid.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. All right.
it's very
that's
cool,
awesome.
and people love it. You know, and for the price, you know, you get quite a bit. So.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Frank? This has been awesome, Chris. You know, I grew up in Massachusetts, so I'm familiar with that area, Maine, New Hampshire,
Yep.
Vermont. And I know a lot of people summer up there. They go up there, you know, camping or to the coastline and everything. So if you're ever up in Maine, Windham, right?
Windham, Maine.
Windham, Maine, Fire and Ice, Maine. Check them out. Go to the Facebook page. Yeah, go have that pizza. And remember, it's well done when you.
Well done, or
when
you'll
you
get
walk
thrown
in.
out, one or the other.
And if you need inflatables, you got
Yeah,
those
if
too.
you need a bounce house, give us a call too.
Chris, thanks so much for coming down,
meeting you.
man.
Thank
Really
you, Chris.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, remember, it's not burnt.
It's charred, baby.
New Haven style pizza.